Right, so we're given a problem like this. This is automobile tire manufacturer collected the data in this table to the left relating tire pressure. So this is certainly in pounds per square inch, and then mileage in thousands of miles. So in other words, I can kind of look at this and see, well, if we have 28 pounds per square inch of pressure, then my mileage gets me 45,000. And they give you this mathematical model. Now, this might be funny to, when you work in an algebra class and you're like, why are they giving me all this stuff to do? And this first part, really all they're trying to do is to get you to plug in each of these values into the equation. And hopefully you have like a calculator that you can just up arrow and go up and just change these numbers right here. And then as you're putting these in, you're going to round to one decimal place. So that's all I did here, just showing you these values for my example, 51.4 and 45.5. All right, then the next thing they ask you to do is sketch a graph. Now, this is where I'm kind of new school. I'm old school and new school. I think you need to understand what you're doing here. But I also want to use technology to graph. And before I do that, I want to think about already what I think this graph looks like. Do you remember x squared is a parabola where if it's minus x squared, it's an upside down parabola. So I can already envision what I think this looks like. Now, I know all of you love your calculators and you'll be old and blind one day like me. And I have a hard time seeing the calculator. So what I really like is a website, and you are free to use this. Okay, this website called Desmos. And so what Desmos is it allows you to graph very, very quickly, move the graph around, and all that kind of good stuff. All right, here we go. This is Desmos.com. You simply just click Graphing Calculator, and then right here you would put your function in. So mine is f of x equals negative 0.518x. I do the shift 6 to get in the exponent, but you can also use, there's this nice little keyboard down here where you can just click that. See how nicely it made it squared? And then plus 33.3x minus 482. Now, a lot of times when students graph things like this, they're like, I don't see my graph. You either can, I'm rolling the mouse. You can either roll the mouse to move it around, or even over here, this little wrench, the graph settings, you can actually change your X and Y axis. So I'm going to only look at positive values, and looks like I could probably stop around 50. And then my Y-axis looks pretty good, but I can manipulate that as well. But notice how I can click and drag and move this around. I can scroll out, I can scroll in. So it just makes it very nice to be able to see the graph, certainly a lot better. You also can even plot points, like that table that we did, 28, 44.3. See where that's out on the graph? I could do 30, 50.8. This is something good to know because it's really helpful to be able to visualize. My 55, because I put the wrong value in, 32. Did you see what happened though? It was over there, and that's why I go And so this kind of lets you know even before you submit your answers if you think they're right, because they better be on that curve, right? And so then 36 and 45.5. So what looks like is happening here is, now let's go back to our actual problem. Okay, so here was our problem. X is giving me the tire pressure. Okay, so as X is going up, then it looks like what's happening here, my mileage is going up, and then it kind of maxes out right there. And then it comes back down. So this is something very, very good for you to be able to understand how to even graph these very quickly, because then you're going to see, like, it's going to ask you, as you start, say, from 31, okay, so I went ahead and I put 31 in, and I got 52.8. You can see it's kind of right there in the middle. And then they asked me again to say, well, what's happening at 33, 52.8? See how that went in between my highest value there? And so this is kind of the math side of it, is, okay, so what does that tell me? It looks like as tire pressure increases, mileage increases, okay, but then it hits a maximum right here, and then it begins to decrease. And so this is why it's really nice to be able to graph very quickly, why I like Desmos, to be able to graph very quickly to look at what you're actually solving.